Hello everyone, this is 155 Chipmunks. This is a shout out to my friend Betty from school. Hi Betty. She wanted me to make this video about my life with Aspergers syndrome. If you don't know what Aspergers syndrome is, it's a type of autism. The main difference between Aspergers and classic autism is because people with Aspergers are more higher functioning, like we're more intelligent and we don't have language delays. We usually talk in a monotone, but we don't have poor speech, basically. Another problem that people with Aspergers have is problems with their gross and fine motor skills. Like, for example, I'm 19 and I still can't ride a two-wheeler bike because I never really learned how. That doesn't mean I'll never learn, it just takes me longer to learn certain things. I also didn't know how to swim until I was 12 and I'm still not able to float on my back properly. We also have trouble with our social skills. Like, it's really hard for me to make friends, and I was bullied a lot as a child. The only person who hangs out with me right now is my boyfriend and, like, my family. I have, like, no female friends at all. There's people at school who I get along with and stuff, but they don't really hang out with me. I've had a pretty lonely life. And plus I misinterpret social skills and I don't always know when I'm being inappropriate. There's some examples of it. When I was younger, I used to write things on Facebook that I didn't always know were appropriate. Like I wrote things about my personal life and I didn't always know they were bad or that people didn't want me to say these things. And then people would comment things like TMI and stuff like that, but I didn't know better. And that got me in trouble, but I didn't understand at the time. Another example, a couple years ago, I was at my aunt's friend's New Year's party, and she asked me if I was having fun, and I said no, and my mom yelled at me and said I was being rude, but then I got confused because if I said yes, I would be lying. So, that confused me. What else? We tend to be overstimulated by senses a lot. Like, for example, if I'm at a brightly lit, loud place like the grocery store or the mall, my eyes start watering and I get a headache, and particularly if I'm hungry, I start acting like a total bitch. And then I have to, like, go calm down or talk to my mom so she can help me. That's another thing, too. I don't always know how to act my age. People automatically assume that I'm being childish, but I really am trying to be independent. It just takes me longer to learn certain things, like I said before, because it's a developmental delay and I understand things differently. Asperger's isn't a disease because you can't cure it. It's a neurotype. It's just how my brain was made. I was born like this. Even though I wasn't diagnosed until, like, recently. But I always did have some quirks. Because when I was a toddler, I preferred to be alone. Like, I did have some imaginary play, unlike most Aspies, but people always thought I was the weird kid. Now I'm going to talk about things that you should never say to autistic people. 1. Look at me. This could cause some problems because eye contact is pretty painful for some autistic people. The reason we don't look at you is because we're too focused on the background. That doesn't mean we're not listening. We can hear every word you say. But One way to help with this, stare at another part of someone's face, like their nose or their mouth or something. That way you don't have to look directly into their eyes. I still have problems with this, but I'm working on it. I'm getting help. You also shouldn't say things like, well, you don't look autistic. Seriously? What is autism supposed to look like? We're all different. If you've met one person with autism, you've met one person with autism. Another thing you should not say ever, well, everybody's a little autistic. No, everybody on the autism spectrum is a little autistic. Because, like I said, it's a neurotype. If you don't have autism, then you're an NT or a neurotypical. And plus, there's, like, different kinds of brain disorders, too, like bipolar and schizophrenia and stuff like that. So, it's not fair for you to say that. Just don't. What else? Also, don't compare us to anybody, because like I said, we're all different. That's why it's called the autism spectrum. If you've met one person with a disorder, that's only one person. Because, for example, I've met people at the library who had, like, classic autism, and I do not act like them. I'm not comparing myself to them, I'm just saying this for scientific reasons. Because, for example, they have no concept of personal space, and they stare a lot. I don't. So there you go. Sorry if that sounded hypocritical. I was just trying to make a point here. Okay, another problem that people with Asperger's syndrome have is we have very literal language. Like, it takes us a while for us to pick up on sarcasm and expressions. Like, I don't always know if people are joking or if they're serious. Or if they use a saying that I'm not familiar with, I'm like, what the heck do you mean? And previously, remember how I was talking about the uneven fine motor skills? Surprisingly, I got pretty decent grades in gym when I was younger, but the rules of the game confused me. Like, basically I suck at football and baseball. Like, I really did try my best, but it was just so confusing. I didn't like it when people, like, got frustrated with me and stuff, because I really did not understand. And people oftentimes think I'm being rude when I'm just frustrated or I simply don't understand. Like, I'm just saying what's on my mind. I'm sorry if it comes out rude, but I just don't know what else to say all the time. What else should I say? Oh yeah, when people make statements in the form of a question, sometimes I'll give them an honest answer and they're like, but you have to. Like, for example, if someone asks me if I want to go help out and I say no, then they're like, but yes, you have to. And I'm like, but you asked me if I did or not, and I said no. Yeah, that just gets totally lost on me. We're also very mysterious. A good comparison that I like to think of is that Aspies are like vampires. Because we act bizarrely and mysteriously. We like to wear the same thing most of the time. We have very limited dietary choices. You know, like how vampires drink blood. And we're sensitive to bright lights and loud noises. Yeah, I also wrote a book about that. It's called The Vampurger. about a little girl with Aspergers syndrome who is interested in vampires and she's trying to make friends. I loosely based her on myself, the main character, Trisha. I'm not as obsessed with vampires as she is, but I inspired her by myself. You can go on shopmybook.com if you would like to buy a copy. That's another thing, special interests. People with Asperger's syndrome have a certain topic that they are obsessed with and they like to talk about a lot. Mine's cartoons. Because if I'm watching TV with my family and a cartoon's on, if I know who the voice actor is, or if it reminds me of something that happened in another cartoon, I will point it out. I'll be like, oh hey, there's Jeff Bed, or here's Tom Kenny, or this happened in another TV show, because it looks really similar. Yeah. I'm not as annoying about it now, but when I was little, I used to talk about Alvin and the Chipmunks a lot, and it would drive my sister batshit crazy. But yeah, I'm trying to control it. And I don't post personal stuff on Facebook that much either. Or at least I try not to. Anyway, since I didn't get diagnosed until recently, I'm not in the disability program at my school yet, but I'm getting there. I talked to the lady there and she's trying to help me. And I have gone to tutoring. It wasn't very successful, unfortunately, but I'm still getting help. That's all I can think of at the moment. If you have any more questions, you can ask me in the comments section or do some research. I'm 155 Chipmunks. Goodbye and happy holidays.